In this video, we are going to add a gate node to my example dinner party planner workflow. And if you've been following along in this MindPal series here on the Bots Mean Business channel, you know that I've been adding nodes step by step and learning as I go using the MindPal Assistant custom GPT that I created. And you can use it too. It's totally free. There's a link to it down in the description. If you want to watch me create the other parts of this workflow step by step, you can go back to the first video in this series. But what we have is a multi-step or multi-agent workflow where the user puts in some information about the party they're planning, the guests that are coming, and any dietary restrictions. And the objective of this workflow is to plan the party, like the menu, the ingredients, and all of that fun stuff. I have more nodes to add and things to build onto my workflow, like subflows and routers. But in this video, we're going to add a gate. So I'm going to bring the gate down here to the very bottom and connect it. And right now it's our very last step. The reason for the gate in this workflow is because we are going to possibly have guests that have dietary restrictions or allergies. I want to make sure that throughout all of the steps of planning the theme, planning the appetizer, planning the main dish, planning the dessert, by the time the actual recipes are created, that they haven't accidentally gotten some of those dietary restrictions mixed in. So I'm going to label my gate node as the safety check. I'm going to choose my personal assistant agent, and according to the MindPal Assistant GPT, it's telling me exactly the prompt that I need here for the gate conditions. So we need to reference the actual dietary restrictions from that original input. So we're going to select the what are we planning human input node, dietary restrictions, and it says it's also going to check for common allergies like soy, tree nut, sesame, and wheat. And if any unsafe ingredient is present, it's going to return stop. Otherwise, it's going to return pass. So let's give this a run. And I'm going to use the same party setup as I did in my previous videos of a dinner party for 4. So I have 3 guests coming. And we're going to say dairy and shellfish is our dietary restrictions input. I'll choose any of these themes here and paste it in as my favorite that I want to move forward with. So my personal assistant agent has called on the recipe developer to create the appetizer, the main dish, and the dessert. And now we're going to get the ingredient list. Our personal assistant is working on our recipe cards, and now it's working on our menu cards. Now for the safety check decision stop reasoning is the shopping list contains milk, which violates the dairy restriction. Therefore, the workflow should stop. So let's see if this is true. I don't see any milk here for the spicy mango. I don't see any milk in the herb-crusted lemon garlic chicken. Ah, there it is. 1 cup of coconut milk. Interesting. Okay, so if we wanted this gate node to actually be effective, we'd probably want to not use our regular personal assistant agent because remember, she's not specialized in anything really. All she knows to do is to take input from me and do as I ask. But what if we created a safety agent? This time I'm going to let MindPal generate this agent with its own AI. So I'm going to describe out loud what I want this agent to do using the microphone icon here. This agent needs to analyze a list of ingredients from the ingredient loop or the shopping lists and determine if, number 1, if any of the ingredients are on the dietary restriction list, and number 2, if any of the ingredients pose other allergens or safety concerns in general for anybody. So it basically just transcribed what I just said. If I wanted to type more, I could do that. I'm just going to tell it it's very important that the agent knows the difference between ingredients like milk and coconut milk. And let's hit generate with AI. So it took my request, turned it into its own background prompt. We have an output format. This is in Markdown. So it's going to tell us safe, allergen, restriction, safety concern, further research needed. Oh my gosh, we have a lot of things here. All right, let's assign a language model to this and hit create. Now I have this safety agent here essentially as my assistant, but it's a specialized assistant. So it has that specialized background and experience and context. I'm going to ask that safety agent to check the combined shopping list for ingredients that violate these dietary restrictions. So we have that. And instead of giving it examples of common allergens, I'm just going to say, also check for common allergens that I can make my guests aware of. And that's saved. So let's hit new run and we'll run this together. Let's do dairy and shellfish again. We'll go with the Enchanted Forest Feast this time. I'll fast forward for you. So we've made it down to our recipe cards loop. Just looking at the ingredients, I'm not seeing anything that jumps out as our dietary restrictions, but there's a lot of ingredients in these lists. And our safety check says to stop again. This gate condition requires checking a shopping list. However, the shopping list itself is missing. Without the shopping list, it's impossible to determine. I'm just going to edit this to check the ingredient list output. I'll say outputs for any ingredients that violate these dietary restrictions. And I just realized that I'm not telling it where to look for those outputs. So let's see. We need the ingredient list outputs to be called in here. So we're looking for the ingredient list loop. And changes have been saved. Let's run it again. Same deal. We are going to restrict dairy and shellfish. Choose the theme. Here we are down here with our safety check. It worked. We got a continue decision. And after reviewing the ingredients list of the 3 recipes, none of them contain dairy or shellfish. Therefore, the work can continue. That's great news, but I was kind of thinking that it would also let me know if there were any other common allergens, and maybe if there aren't, let me know that it actually checked, So I think what I'll do is add an agent node down here. We're going to make this our safety agent, and I actually want to rename this guy. If you watched my previous videos, you know that I like to kind of personify my agents because it helps me to think of them as a real person, to understand how everything fits together. We're all good there. We're going to use the safety agent. The safety agent has the background of analyzing ingredients. So I want to give it the task of analyzing the ingredient list output. And for each ingredient that you analyze, provide one of the following responses. I want to know, is it safe? Is there an allergen concern? Is there a dietary restriction, safety concern, or further research needed? I'm going to check against the actual dietary restrictions that we have given it, because those are our very strict standards for our dinner party. But now I'm introducing an agent to just say, hey, can you look over the whole list and just point out if there are any safety concerns that we might not have thought of or we might not be aware of. And this agent might need a little more support in analyzing all of that. So instead of using Gemini Flash 2.0, let's use Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is a reasoning model. It's Gemini's most recent and most robust model. Let's hit Update Agent. And with this in place, we're going to check it again. But I already notice there might be a problem, because if we run this entire workflow and then we get to the gate and the gate says to stop because there's something wrong with the ingredients and there's a restricted ingredient in our shopping list, then the workflow doesn't go anywhere else. It just stops. And if the safety gate determines that there is a problem and to stop, we don't want it to continue on. So in my next video, we're going to have to set up our router node, but let's see if we can get this safety gate and safety check. I'm running the same exact scenario. Let's do this around the world in 4 courses idea. If you've been following along in this MindPal series here on the Bots Mean Business channel, you might have noticed that I have switched to a different account. I was using my free Bots Mean Business MindPal account, but I did run out of credits. So I'm over here in my main account. You can see that I have used very many credits here, but I also have unlimited AI credits, and that's because I connected my API keys for Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT. So I'll show you how to do that in a future video, because once you get a few workflows set up in your MindPal account, you want to be able to test them, play with them, build new workflows, and let your clients, your students, or your team members actually use them without running out of credits. So we made it down to our safety check, which let us know that we can continue. Now our safety agent is looking at our common risks. This is exactly what I wanted to see. This is actually brilliant. For plantain chips, it's telling me more research needed because we need to look at the label. Like, we don't know what brand and what are the ingredients in the actual bag. Okay, we have some dietary restrictions for vegans and vegetarians. Nice. We have a tree nut allergen here. This is fantastic. Now, if I was really planning a dinner party with my real friends of, Ross, Joey, and Chandler, I might send them this list and have them just take a look. Let me know if there's anything that's going to be a problem for you so we can fix it before we actually make the meals. This is getting really fun. So in the next video, we're going to have to set up our router node just in case the safety check fails. And we'll keep working on this MindPal workflow, see if we can get every single node into this thing, including Subflow. So hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.